Just like everyone, my life is jam-packed. I'm always on the move, but self-care is top priority for me. That's why I'm a part of the Texture Club at my favorite salon. My easy monthly subscription to the Texture Club solves everything.
What's going on, everyone? We are back again for another episode of the Student to Life podcast, where learning and unlearning has no limits. Listen, before we move forward, remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode out to your friends and your family. I am your host, Shan, and this is my co-host,
Stretch.
As you can see, we are in a new location. I want to shout out my salon home, All Dolled Up Salon. My homie, my brother, 88, is the owner of this location. You guys have to come out and see them and try out their products, their hits products. They are amazing, they are bomb, and they do wonders for your hair.
Hello, ma'am. How's it going? How you doing?
I'm good.
How's your mental health?
Oh my God, my mental health's so good.
That's good. That's good.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, you been drinking?
No.
You been smoking?
Every now and then. You know, I am a herbalist, so y'all know we can't leave Mary out too long.
Right. Also, I want to give shout out to Kuya for the merch, for the shirt. Yeah, they sponsored this episode, so big shout out to Kuya for the support, for the love. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So today, what we talking about today? Just me and you today, no guests. It's
yeah,
just
guys,
me.
it's just us today. So we're talking about ego.
Yeah, we're talking about the ego, not only male ego, but just ego overall. And tell us the Google definition of what ego is.
You guys know I have to do my little research so I can give y'all the proper knowledge, right? All right, so Google says ego is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Mm-hmm. Then it goes into the psychoanalysis.
Yes, psychoanalysis.
Definition, which is the part of the mind that mediates between the conscious and the unconscious and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity.
Yeah, so basically it's just saying that a person who's just self-centered and all about themselves. You know, they see themselves as their only person, their feelings as the only feelings, their actions is the only actions that's valid and that's correct. So to me, I have a different definition of that word ego. I feel like it's like a alter ego, they call it alter ego.
Alter ego.
Basically, it's like another person. That's basically, it's like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, and one is saying the ego is the one that's saying they're not better than you. They can't tell you nothing. You know, I'm always right. You know, I'm never wrong. That's the bad side of the ego, and the good side of the ego is saying that I love myself, I'm important, but I'm still not better than anyone. You know what I'm saying? So there's two different sides to ego, and I feel like we always talk about the bad side of it.
Yeah, because when you hear the word ego, you hear like it's you automatically think like a bad thing.
Right.
And what I like about this definition is that it says the unconscious and the conscious part of, I guess, your brain. Because a lot of people, so in the show, oh my God, I forgot the show. The airplane show. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's on Netflix. They talk about divine consciousness. And to reach divine consciousness, you have to be on a spiritual level within yourself. And I like that about it, because once you reach a level of consciousness, your ego doesn't show up in a bad way.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody has ego.
Yeah, and I think ego is also a good thing. You need ego to be able to show confidence as well.
Right, but some people just turns that ego into into this selfish tool or weapon, you know.
And they lead with it. I think the problem is leading with your ego. You got to know when to lead with it and when to not lead with it.
I mean, that's the thing. You should never lead with ego. You should always lead with maturity. That's what I think.
But remember, if you have your ego to a certain level, so let's say you're in a conference, you know, sometimes you have to use a little sprinkle of your ego to keep your confidence up, because you don't want to feel as if you're not confident.
You have to basically tell yourself that I'm the shit and you ain't better than me, type of thing. You have to basically build yourself up in that moment to really not, like, for instance, if you're in front of an audience, you can't really down yourself in front of that audience because they're gonna see that. And one thing I've learned from being an MC that when everybody's looking at you, if you look slightly not confident or slightly like timid nervous, in any way or nervous, that's the word, they see that.
Yeah.
So once they see that, now that level of entertainment that they should get, they're not looking for that from you, because they're like, you don't know what you're doing. And when you're nervous, you're not performing at your best. When you're not operating in a state of confidence, you're not operating at your best.
Yeah, it's like with hair too. Like my brother knows we done been through trials and tribulations where I remember in the beginning of and being here is bringing back so much memories, but in the beginning of my career where certain styles I wasn't confident in doing.
Right.
And the client, and I'm servicing a new client, and I'm like, oh man. But my ego has to come about, and it has to show so that the client know that I'm confident and they feel calm.
Yeah, you can't show them that
you can't show them like, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing, but
exactly,
you know. So
it's just like
you have to use it sometimes.
It's just like the other day, I got booked for a wedding. My first time ever hosting.
You had to host it?
Yeah, I did it. Ever since then, I did it twice after that.
Okay.
But my first time hosting, it was like I never did it before.
Yeah.
So walking into it, it was like unsure of how it would turn out, and I realized that it's just like going in with confidence and doing it your way. It's just basically what it is. And you see, like I've seen like women that are not that beautiful.
Yeah.
They like call people ugly. I don't like calling people ugly.
Yeah.
But they walk with so much confidence. They aren't the first
choices.
Right. They walk with so much confidence. That they just, that alone.
Yeah, the physical don't even matter.
Exactly. Yeah. The confidence is what you see the most. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we all need a little ego to build up our confidence a lot more, but some of us just take it a little bit too far.
Yeah. I think that because, you know, and touch on like healthy ego. I think those are like healthy ego moments, like with you going in, and even though you never done it before, you still wasn't like, I've been doing this, or I'm the dopest host.
Yeah, because in your unconscious mind, that's the conversation you're basically having with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm the shit. You know, I can do this. I'm building up myself. I'm confident. Now, like I said, it's the you ever seen the cartoon with the devil and the angel on your shoulder? Now the devil's side is gonna say to you, nobody could tell you nothing, because somebody could pull me aside and be like, hey, you know, if you try this differently, you might have a better outcome. And you're gonna look at them like they're stupid, because you're like, how dare you tell me what to do? I know everything. You know what I'm saying? So that is where the ego now, you just take it a little bit too far. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I've encountered that plenty times, and I think the persons that I've encountered that has those really horrible, strong egos, it's like my spirit takes to them, and it's like, I don't even want to have a conversation with you.
I mean, there's a word I'm looking for. I can never remember that word, where somebody just thinks so highly of themselves that they're delusional, that you think you're this thing, you're on this high level, but in reality you're not. And I cannot remember the name, the word, but basically, in your head, you're the president. Yeah. You know, you're the best in the world, and in reality, you want to believe it so much that you tell yourself a lie.
I think it's okay to tell yourself that in the right predicaments.
No, you don't lie to yourself though.
Let me tell you why. in the right predicaments, like when it comes to healthy ego, you have to tell yourself that. Because so let's say like when we have a guest on here and they're nervous, if they give themselves that pep talk, like I got this. I'm great at podcasts. I'm the shit. Like I'm gonna be the best guest they've ever had. You know what I'm saying? It helps them feel more confident, even though they're saying it in their head. Though sometimes you have to affirm yourself mentally.
I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about. There will be DJs, right? They go to parties and in their set, it's the worst, terrible. But because me and you weren't there, in order to convince themselves, in order to say, I am the best, I'm going to lie to you and say, I tore it up. Knowing that you were lame as hell.
But that's a liar.
That's what I mean. Like, you're telling yourself that lie.
They're telling the folks that.
Right.
Okay.
And they believe it. You know, in their heads, they believe it so much without having evidence to say, I actually did that. I just cannot remember the word for it, but yeah, you basically just lie to yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I know the word that you're talking about.
I cannot remember it. So that's what happens to a lot of people, where the ego is so strong that you tell yourself a lie to convince yourself. Because I've seen people tell themselves lies and believe it. You know.
Do you believe that you could be egotistical and also humble?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Because like I said in the beginning, your ego is your what they call the I just said the word. Yeah. The alter ego.
Oh, okay.
The alter ego. That's basically what I consider
like
your
my
ego.
alter ego's on right now, guys.
Right. You're basically another invisible person in your brain talking to you.
Yeah. Every time I put on another wig, my alter ego comes out.
So that's basically what it is. This is your alter ego talking to you. You're not basically talking to somebody.
Right.
Your ego is telling you, you know, in the back of your head, he ain't better than you. Punch him in the face.
Can your alter ego just be a different person? Does it have to be just how you like talk to yourself overconfidently, as far as just like, you know, just your alter ego? Because okay, DJ Stretch is your alter ego.
And there's a personality.
Stretch right now, the co-host Stretch is different from DJ Stretch.
Right, but it's a personality. I want to say it's an alter ego.
That's what it is. A personality is a part of your ego. It's you being a different type of, you know, person.
That's me.
So that's like if someone says, "Dang, Stretch, I never knew you in this light, you know, in this podcast light to be here." But then they hear you DJing.
I wouldn't say that's an alter ego though. I would say that's a personality. You know, you know how to adjust. You know how to compartmentalize and, you know, change your personality for different settings. It's like if I'm in a family setting, I have the family personality. If I'm in a business setting, I'm a business person. If I'm in a podcast setting or a party setting.
So you don't think you can? But let's break down alter ego. You're altering your ego.
Right. And your ego is invisible.
But your DJ Stretch has a different ego than Stretch
right, but it's a
now.
Personality difference.
Alonzo has a different personality.
Personality difference
Stretch.
is different from ego difference, because the ego be consistent throughout all of those personalities.
You could have a different level of ego
in different personalities. That's what I'm saying. So it's a personality difference. It could either be constant or different with each personality.
So would you say you're confident when you go in when you're DJing? You have a level of confidence.
Yes, and that confidence comes from preparation. Comes from knowing that you're good at this thing.
Yeah.
That's where your confidence.
Do you know
comes
how
from.
you sound when you DJ?
How?
You're a whole different person.
That is the point.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where you change your personality in order to fit that setting.
Yeah, you alter your ego.
Yes. I don't know. It may be the right way to put it, but I really see it as a person that like compartmentalizing and being different people in different settings. It's the same thing if I'm dating somebody. You have to be able to operate in different settings. So if I bring you to a family function, you can't pretend like you're at a party.
Club. Yeah.
You know, it's just like,
yeah.
For instance, if you're dating a stripper, you can't go to a family function being a stripper. You get what I'm saying? That you can't go there in lingerie and stuff like that in a family setting. You can't go to a party setting and be who you was in the family setting, because those are totally different dynamics.
Yeah.
The problem is with me now, I have to be party setting, podcast, I have to be business, I have to be family, I have to be all of these different personalities. You have to learn to be that with me. You get what I'm saying? Because in a party setting, it's totally different,
It's different than,
than being home.
True.
You get what I'm saying? So
let's talk about the signs of a strong ego. So Google says here, egotistical people will talk excessively, and when someone tries to point out something that is not about them, they will get upset. They don't have social cues on give and take in relationships. Egotistical people don't ask, what can I do for you? They are only concerned with what anyone can do for
for
them.
them. So basically, it's a level of narcissism.
Yeah, it's a level of narcissism.
Basically, it's a level of narcissism.
A strong ego.
Yeah.
You're a narcissist.
I think everybody's a narcissist.
Yeah.
Everybody have a little
pinch
bit of narcissism in them. It's natural. You're born with it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has it. But like I said, just like the ego, everybody just decided to take this too damn far.
Have anybody ever told you have a strong ego?
No, my ego is basically, if I'm telling you something, I know what the hell I'm telling you. That's the difference. I won't argue with you because once I get my point across, there's no need to go back and forth. Mm-hmm. Unless it's me and you on a podcast and we're trying to reason it out. Mm-hmm. But if it's a serious argument between me and, let's say, for instance, I'm in a relationship, mm-hmm. I don't need to go back and forth with you. Mm-hmm. I hate trying to convince people of anything.
Yeah.
Why do I have to?
I am not in the business of convincing.
That's my point.
All the time.
So if I tell you something, especially something that happened with me, mm-hmm. and I have to sit there and convince you that I'm right, mm-hmm. or that I'm telling the truth, then it's pointless for me. It's a waste of breath. I don't need to have to do that. So that's where my ego comes from. When I do that research mm-hmm. to make sure what I'm telling you makes hell of a sense, and I make sure I have facts to back it up. Mm-hmm. If not, then I will sit there and I will listen to you if you do the research and I didn't.
Right.
And I always say to people that you have a smartphone and you don't know how to use it. You only know how to go on Instagram and Twitter, but you will be there arguing about someone. All you have to do is pick up the phone mm-hmm. and go on Google or go on a search engine mm-hmm. and even go on YouTube and search for whatever it is you're arguing about, and the facts will be right there.
True. I agree.
So yes, of course I have an ego, but my ego doesn't come from like non-factual feelings.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that Google says, guys, is the signs of an egotistical person. So they say their overconfidence, mm-hmm. It's difficult to handle them. They can insult anyone easily. Mm-hmm. They're self-obsessed. Mm-hmm. They lack empathy. Very
much.
Yeah.
Very much. I feel like that is the main one. The lack of empathy. Yes.
I am such an empathetic person. Like, I feel, we talk about being an empath all the time. Mm. And I don't know if me doing here and being over people's medulla has made it even more sensitive for me at times. But, like, the lack of empathy is like, you just might as well not even be a human being. I
can't say that. You know what the problem is? A lot of us operate in a state of selfishness where you're not able to turn the mirror around to see what somebody else is going through. Mm-hmm. You only focus on yourself so much. We operate so much off of feelings nowadays, so many of us. We make decisions, we come to conclusions and everything based on our feelings. Mm-hmm. And we're not able to rationalize with other people and have serious conversation to come to real conclusions.
Yeah.
That is what I think the main problem is nowadays. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I feel like a celebrity is different from a celebrity now. Mm-hmm. Because you had to wait to see or interact with a celebrity. Mm-hmm. And now everybody feels like, I'm that celebrity. Yeah. So that is where that ego comes from. Like, he's not more than me. Like, yeah. I could do what he does. I could attempt to do what he does.
Yeah.
And that level of building up your ego so much makes you not care about anyone else. You might say something and not care how that thing is gonna make that person feel. Because think about it. If everyone had that level of empathy, you wouldn't see people treat people a certain kind of way.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And your empathy doesn't have to necessarily be, oh, I'm going to solve this person's problem, or I'm going to help them figure it out to the end. It's just, sometimes it's a listening ear.
No, empathy simply means just understanding where the other person's coming from.
You know, and it's simple. It's just having a heart.
To me,
have a heart.
To me, the thing is, like, even with a murderer or somebody who killed somebody or something, being able to say, damn, he might have been going through something at the time. Not finding an excuse, but just understanding where he might have been mentally. Or how he was brought up, or the childhood that he had. Because a lot of things that people do and go through stems from...
Like serial killers? Serial killers are killers that kill multiple times, right? Like they kill over and over and over and over. I think it's just a mental health thing. I think serial killers should... I don't think they should rot in jail. I think they should go to a mental society.
Nah, the thing is, not every serial killer has mental issues. Some serial killers, a man that kills more than 5 people, I think.
Drugs.
Sometimes you just grow up in that environment.
Where they see killing all the time, so they're like...
You have no choice but to defend yourself a lot of times. If you're in a gang war, basically, and you have to kill 5 people, 6 people, you're considered a serial killer. Do you understand what I'm saying? So,
well, I'm not those. I'm just
that's what I'm saying. That's considered a serial killer also.
You realize your neighbor then kills 17 people in the last year. That's a serial killer. And he's acting like a regular person.
Right. That's somebody.
His alter ego is a serial killer.
What's his name? What's the guy's name?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Did you watch it?
Hell no.
Only crazy people watch it to the end, and
I'm not watching that. That's just disgusting. I saw some of the highlights. I was like, that is disgusting.
He was sick.
Yeah.
He was sick.
But like I said, the empathy comes in when you say to yourself, I wonder what his childhood was, what made him.
Yeah,
what made him that way. Yeah.
He used to dissect stuff like Chapa said. He used to dissect animals when he was younger with his dad. And it used to bring him so much peace and comfort to just slice somebody open and take out all the animal open and take out all the organs, and it just went with him.
And I feel like that still stems from somewhere, because if that was nurtured.
So what it stemmed from was that because he felt like he didn't have a lot of time with his dad. His dad was always, and then the time that he would have, they would go hunt and kill something.
But if that was nurtured, you would have been a surgeon. Probably the best one.
In a positive way.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the best surgeon.
He used to eat their body parts.
See,
it's going to be Halloween, guys, soon.
I don't know how y'all like that one here, but...
It was good. You should watch it.
But empathy, I think everybody deserves a little bit of it.
Yeah.
No matter how bad the situation is.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a level of empathy.
So I used to be confused on the notion of empathy and sympathy, but now I think I got it. I think empathy is when you can understand what the person is going through. And I think sympathy is when you probably been through it and you can like relate.
So empathy is basically just literally seeing stuff from the person's point of view.
Yeah, like I understand that I get what you're going through.
Right, but I think sympathy should mean you're feeling.
Like you feel it.
Like you
don't think both of them is a felt.
You kind of try to feel what they're going through, where they're at the moment.
Yeah, like sympathize.
Yeah, you sympathize with them. So it's like
you've been through it before. You could be like
basically.
Yeah.
You sympathize with them, saying, I feel what you're going through. I understand.
Yeah.
And the empathy would be like, I could see how that happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
But I could see how that transpired in that way. It's just like an R. Kelly situation. What he did was bad, but you could understand that the way he grew up and the trauma that he'd been through.
And then having the world handed to you easily.
That caused them to be in that situation.
Rough.
Yeah. So all of that. When it comes to empathy, I don't think an egotistical person, like a a very highly egotistical person has any level of empathy because you're all about yourself centered.
All about yourself.
Yeah.
That's such a lonely space to be there to me.
It's nowadays it's a popular space to be in. Because if you think about it, how many people got so much strong opinions about something they know nothing about? Think about it. If you really think about so much people that has the strongest opinion about this one thing, and all they had to do was maybe just go Google it.
Yeah, true. Egotistical people, they do have strong opinions about something that they don't know.
Most of the times.
It's like you can't, they're not ever, and they won't admit when they're when they're wrong either.
No, that's
like they will be like, oh well, I still feel like it's this, even though they know it's not.
Exactly, and your ego is gonna tell you, don't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little demon on your shoulder is gonna be like, he's right, but don't tell him he's right. You know, and that's what that. If you really realize that it shows up in so much friendships, and it destroys a lot of friendships.
Yeah, that goes into the relationship.
I always sit over here and be like, you know, Shan, I like her today because I feel like she moved this way, or she walked past me and she didn't say what's up the way she's supposed to say what's up, and you make up a whole story in your head, and your ego start to go, and you start to write a whole book about this one situation that all you could have did was like, yeah, what's going on here? All right?
Yeah.
That's it, and the conversation has been done right there. But
your
instead,
ego is gonna cause
your
ego,
like, you stand on your ego and be like, yeah, she just walked past me.
Nose in the air.
Okay. And I feel like that's what destroys a lot of friendships and relationships nowadays, is the ability to communicate. And instead of communicating and saying, I understand where you're coming from, I might have been wrong for the way I approached that, and I apologize.
Right.
You're not gonna get that from someone.
An egotistical person.
Hell nah.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna come to you and apologize?
Yeah, I can never do that.
You ain't got nothing over me. I'm not gonna let you have nothing over me. And the ego is just beating you to death.
Can you tell an egotistical person that they have an ego? You think they'll agree?
No.
You don't think they'll agree? They're like, no, I don't have an ego.
I don't think they'll say no, I don't. They'll find all the reasons in the world
to
justify it. That's what the egotistical person does the most. They justify all their actions with their own feelings, basically, not facts, feelings. They justify it with feelings. Like you have a friend, right? And the friend will come to you and be like, "Damn, I can't come out tonight. Even though I said I was gonna come out tonight, I can't come out tonight. I'm just gonna chill." And you're like, "Okay, cool." And then you hang up the phone and you're like, it's a messed up thing, and you start going and you start making a story and you start going and going and going, not knowing that a person might be over there suffering from something, going through something, and you now are torching that person. All you had to do was just understand and have a conversation with the person, be like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah. And sometimes people are not going to want to tell you either. They're not going to want to tell you, what's going on. You just have to know as a human that it doesn't matter. They don't have to tell me right now because maybe they don't want to.
Maybe they don't want to.
Yeah.
And maybe they're going through their own personal thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes everybody goes through stuff.
Right.
Everybody goes through their own problems. Some of us don't communicate it. Yeah. Some of us don't know how to communicate it. And I think what the ego does in that situation is it kind of protects you. It protects you from saying, maybe if I tell them what happened, I would seem weak.
Right.
I don't want to seem weak.
Right.
I want to always feel everybody to see me as this strong person. I'm never depressed. I'm always happy. Yeah. And you put on this facade. Yeah.
Because you don't think the person can empathize with you.
You don't think in your head, like I said, it's protecting you. Yeah. And that's never good.
Kuya, Stretch, look at these nice shirts that we have for this season.
And it's all sponsored by Kuya Clothing.
Yes.
You can find them on Instagram at Kuya Clothing, or you can find them online at kuya.com. They also have storefronts in Jamaica where you can purchase your merch in Kingston and Montego Bay. So go get your own and leave mine alone.
And you can be hot like pepper like me. Toxic ego. Spiritual immaturity, being unable to live a life that are true to your faith.
Yeah, so I got the spiritual maturity topic from Curly Lux, which is one half of Twin of Twins. He has a show called In the Meantime. I got this spiritual maturity topic from him where he talks about the difference between handling stuff in a spiritual way, a spiritual correct way, and handling stuff with your personal feelings.
Right.
So a lot of people know fast food is bad for you. You know that. But you will not stop eating fast food because it satisfies your mouth and you not know it's hurting your stomach. You're not spiritually mature to know that. I need to stop. Your discipline is not to, you don't have enough discipline to say, I'm going to stop do that because I know it's destroying me.
Yeah.
And you find all the excuses in the world as to why this is the right thing to do. Oh, it tastes good. I don't care what you say. I'm going to do it anyway.
There's no spiritual elevation there.
There's nothing there to say, all right, I know this is wrong. I understand. I'm going to work on how I'm going to get away from doing this one thing. This, for instance, you're in an abusive relationship. And this guy's beating the dog shit out of you. And you know that this is the wrong situation to be in. But because you don't want your friends to say, oh, look, our relationship fell apart. You put on a facade, like you're happy. And then as soon as you walk away from your friends, you're going home to get this dose of beating. You know what I'm saying? So, but in order to not look bad in front of your friends and your family that told you it was bad for you, they told you from the beginning that this dude is not good for you, in order to make them seem like they're wrong, what you're going to do is you're going to put on a makeup over the black eye. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hide from them with the busted lip until it heals to prove them wrong, that guy was wrong for you. That's your ego telling you that.
Telling you to do that.
You get what I'm saying?
So that means, so it goes back to just not having that spiritual maturity.
Right.
Yeah.
Spiritual maturity takes discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to know that everybody might be going down this road.
But you don't have to go the same road. You could make a turn and go the
It's
other way.
okay to go your own way. Everybody has tattoos. Let's put it like that. And you decide you're not going to get a tattoo. Now everybody looks at you like an outcast in a way, like he's not following the crowd. But you have to be disciplined enough to hold your principles, to hold that level of, like, you have to be disciplined enough to not care what people say and do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what spiritual maturity basically means.
I think like spiritual maturity brings me back to when I started to meditate, and meditation, connecting with my higher self and learning that spiritual maturity within myself brought a level of humbleness to where even if my ego wanted to be out there and be toxic, it couldn't be, because I did the work on my mental health and on my spiritual health, so that in everywhere that I go now, any part of life, any situation, I've mastered rationalizing and not just looking at things through my own lens, but more of a general aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Once I discovered the whole meaning and everything behind that whole spiritual maturity thing, I've operated in a different way with a lot of situations. That taught me that not to be too quick to answer and deal with certain problems in a certain way. And that taught me a lot about my reaction to certain things. Nowadays, somebody who know me from years ago would say to me, normally you would snap and cuss and go off, and now you're just like the chill one. I'm like, yo, to me, it makes no sense to raise your blood pressure over something that you literally could just take a step back and handle it in a more, a more mature way.
Yeah.
You know, the maturity is the key word within all of that.
Yeah. And when you said that, I just thought of like, when you say step back, it's like, it's okay to say, this conversation is not for me. This
Right.
person is not for me. This situation is not for me. I don't have to prove anything.
You know what I always use as an example for that? The scammers in Jamaica. I always use them as an example only because think about all this money you're getting. You're getting all this money to go floss and show off on everybody else. And show them that, look at me, I have all this money and I can do all these things that you can't do. You know, that's all you're doing. If you were mature enough, spiritually mature enough with that money, you take that money.
The things them stretch.
You invest. you don't have to invest in no business. There's so much things you could do with that money to change.
Get out the game.
You have to get out of the game, basically.
Yeah.
You can't scam for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
You know? And I always use this analogy of find a young youth, basically, right? He's in your community. He don't got nothing. You hear what I'm saying? You send him to school to be an investor or stocks, trade stocks.
Something that's gonna possibly help you
You
later on.
send him to school to do all these things. You put up the money and they say, hey, flip this. Now he's trading. You give him 10 grand, you flip that 10 grand and give you 100.
And oh my God.
You know, you employ all these little kids just by doing something that's
and they're
simple.
gonna love you so much.
I feel like even with politicians now, I feel like if some of these same area leaders or gang leaders could take some of these younger youths and say, I'm sending you to school, I'm sending you to college, you're gonna get this education, we're gonna put you in position to be the president or the prime minister. You know, we're gonna invest all this time and money in you. When you go into office, you have our best interests at heart.
Right.
So whatever we want, that's what you gotta do. What do you think the big corporations do now? Why do you think the pharmaceutical companies and all these companies can't be shut down, even though we know they're destroying our society? Because they are the one who control these politicians. They're their big donors. So imagine if we're our own donors of these politicians and we say, listen, when you go into office, make sure we own all the banks. And make sure our communities get all the funding. Make sure we get all the funding for housing. Make sure we get all these things. Who's doing that? Who's taking the initiative to do that?
Yeah.
But like in Jamaica, you rarely see any scammer or anybody that's getting money helping a school.
Because they don't have the knowledge. You know why? They don't have that knowledge because they probably wouldn't be scamming in the first place.
Now your ego is saying that with the money that you get, it's mine.
Right.
I don't need to share it with
I don't
nobody.
need to share it.
You know, and we have
And because they want to prove to other people that they can look this way and they could floss and they could do this.
Right. And there's people that has to come from America to come in the same community that you live to buy a computer for the school.
Right.
To do any form of funding for the school in any way.
Yeah.
And you live in the same community. And the night before that, you just threw 100 grand on alcohol and
on nothing.
On nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the ego. All these guys that you see spending their last money to buy the most expensive clothes and all these things, even if they're gonna be broke tomorrow, I'm gonna spend all this money to make sure you see me. You see me.
Just the vision, just to have this vision of me tonight.
All right, think about this. How many times have you seen a guy dressed in Gucci from head to toe, right? And his confidence is like way up here now.
But then when he go home, take it off.
And if he try to talk to a girl, and she don't give him that level of response that he wants, he's miserable for the rest of the night. Because he thinks that I am the shit now because I have on.
I'm dressed in designer. The ego is on 10.
So now his little ego is damaged. It's hurt because he thinks that because I have all these possessions that every girl is supposed to flock you.
That's surface level thinkers.
And that's why I say women can change this world with a snap of a finger. Because if women start to like regular ass guys that go to jobs or wear, let's say for instance wear what they call it, Old Navy every man will wear Old Navy.
Yeah.
If girls hate men with guns, no man will have a gun. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Women can change this world because a lot of things that men do is to impress women. A lot of things that women do is to impress themselves and their friends.
And there you go. Men, yes, try to impress the women, but they want to floss on friends and enemies.
Right. And then women want to show off on other women. A lot of times women don't get their bodies done and all these things
Now,
to impress men.
Okay.
A lot of times.
I can say with those statements, it depends on the woman. It depends on who they are. Do they have a level of spiritual elevation? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some people do these things for the wrong reason all the time. So, yeah, some women get their body done to impress the guys or to show off on their friends. Me personally, I like all my friends. My circle has to be at literally like not the same level, but not too far away from each other, because I feel like we kind of all need to be on one accord and not be too much on our.
All right, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Right? Do you think that a man likes a woman who's done her body more than a woman that would go to the gym every single day?
No, I don't think let me not say no, but I don't think it will matter.
You don't think it will matter?
No. Especially if the woman is, and especially if the man is health conscious. Depends on the man and his morals and values.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's health conscious, I'm pretty sure if you're going to get your body done, like even men will say to me, well, I see women that get their body done, they fat right after they do it because they don't take no type of care of their body.
Right.
But they're like, at least you try to go to the gym or go to the gym and try to eat healthy. You know what I mean? And then there's women that, don't even want to take care of their bodies and don't even have their bodies done.
So the real question is, if a man says he likes a natural woman, and I know a lot of women hear that all the time, because that's me too. I love a natural woman. But you still go and get your body done, right? What attracts that man to you now?
But is he attracted to the physical, or is he attracted to who you are as a person? Because even women that go to the gym all the time and have fit bodies, their mental is probably not the best. They're probably not even stable.
Well, who do you think has the worst mental?
It all depends.
Right. So that is where the disconnect is. I feel like I told you earlier, a big girl could walk around with the biggest confidence, and a guy just loves that. Just loves how she walks with confidence.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not about how you physically look, like you said. Sometimes being able to have a certain level of conversation and being attracted to a certain type of person.
Yeah, because I've met guys that's gym heads, gym rats, and oh my God, ego is through the roof down the street and back around the corner, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, a lot of people that take that shortcut to doing their bodies and even doing their teeth and all these things, and their self-esteem is very low. Even
I don't
after.
necessarily think that. You know why? Because I don't think it's a self-esteem thing. I think it's wanting to just enhance yourself for whatever reason.
That is true. But I feel like if you are walking around as an insecure person,
if you're already insecure and you go do that, then that is
not going to change your insecurity. Exactly my point. So that's why, if you realize, that's why a lot of people constantly keep going back to do something else, because you're insecure about your pudge, basically, and you didn't fix that insecurity in your mind. You go do that body.
You go do it.
Now it's your toes. Now it's your teeth.
It's something else.
It's something
that's like
else.
people that's addicted to surgeries.
Because you're always going to be insecure about something.
Over and over do it again.
You're always insecure about something.
You're never going to be happy.
No. So that's why it goes back to, I feel like a lot of times when women do stuff like that to themselves, it's not to attract a man or to impress a man.
Well, I had 2 babies, so Jay, you know what's up. I used to walk around here before the body confident as ever.
That's what it is.
But so it's like, for me, I had 2 babies, and it was like I want to feel and look different because I'm going through what I'm going through.
Yeah.
My postpartum, my this. I've always been confident. I've always had that about me. Always.
And that is what I think women should fix first.
Yeah, your mental state.
Yes.
Because I hear women, I've seen women that go and get their bodies done and bash other women because they don't get their bodies done. how egotistical
Nah, but even
can you be?
even going to the gym, it's all a mind thing. At the end of the day,
It is a mental thing.
yeah,
Definitely a
and
mental thing.
it takes a level of discipline and spiritual maturity.
That's why it goes back to the spiritual maturity.
Yes, of
That
wanting to do the right thing.
Yes.
Doing the right thing takes a lot of work because the wrong thing is so easy to do.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that is what's destroying this. If you realize now the lies are more popular than the truth. You know, the lies more entertaining, the lies easier
Right.
to believe than the truth.
So I want to move on. This ego topic was amazing, by the way, Stretch. I like that you thought of it. Well, I had us talk about it tonight. So earlier, we did a poll on Instagram. All our YouTube watchers, hopefully y'all follow us on Instagram. And if our Instagram watchers are watching, we did a poll, and we're doing a Q&A segment.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. And we had a few
Submissions,
and we're going to go over 2 of them tonight because we do want to make sure we incorporate our audience into the podcast so that, y'all know we care. And we're answering y'all questions because we are students of life and we do learn and teach here. So let's go to it. I'm not gonna say the person's name.
No, we're not gonna put the people out there on blast.
Yeah, we're gonna keep your identity safe, guys. Forgive me. Let me just figure out my life right now. Okay. All right. So the first question is, what's your thoughts on having a real connection or connecting with someone?
Okay. We talked about this earlier. When it comes to having a real connection, first it starts with self. You have to know yourself, have a real relationship with yourself, because we always 19 Keys talks about your God self, knowing who you are, knowing, and that God self now is able to see that God-like traits in somebody else. You know what I'm saying? If you're at a level of spiritual maturity, you now can be able to see that person is that on that level,
right,
asking the right questions. Like, you ever hear them? We Jamaicans would say, "Spirit text somebody."
Yeah.
That is a real thing.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Because the energy will never lie to you.
Yes.
It will never lie to you.
Yes.
Developing a connection with somebody is being so comfortable that you drop your guards around that person. And sometimes the vibe is so natural that you can't even fight it. No matter how much you try to stay away from this person.
Yeah.
The vibe is so natural. Like, you don't have to force it. You don't have to force the conversation. You don't have to force physical touch.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It comes naturally.
It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
And I see so much people that's not supposed to be in a relationship.
I see it too.
But because their feelings is already in there, it's like you're unable to step away.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to feel hurt. You don't want to feel that hurt, so you do anything to protect that hurt.
Right.
It's like I said, it goes back to spiritual maturity, knowing what the right thing to do is and following through with it. A lot of us know what the right thing is to do is to leave that toxic person alone and go fix yourself. But you're not going to do that because it's too much work.
Right.
So I feel like in order to develop a real connection with somebody, you have to also develop a relationship with yourself, knowing who you are.
And to chime on that, also, I believe that if you are not a person that always connect with somebody, especially when it comes into a romantic state or relationship, if you're not a person that's like quick to date around, like date every single body, just because they look good or whatever, and you're more conservative when it comes to dating, you think about it first, you've done the mental, spiritual work on yourself, and then you get the connection, you got to know it's real. Because you don't normally form these connections with just anybody.
Remember I used to always say, I could talk to you for 5 minutes and I could tell the type of person that you are. You being able to do that is how you know who you're going to have that connection with.
And sometimes it's like right there.
Yeah.
Like you meet someone, like you ever meet a woman and you're like, she just gives you this soft, feminine energy, and you just feel like her protector, and you're like, dang, she made me feel like a real king right now. And I just spoke to her. You're not gonna get that energy from just anybody.
You can't get that type of energy from everybody, but some people, like I said, some people know how to mask certain things from you.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to read people, read energies, you will fall for that. If you ever realize that you will meet somebody today and they'll be the nicest person in the world. They'll open the door for you. They'll open the car door for you, pull out your chair, protect you at all costs. And once they get used to you, then the real person start to come out.
Right.
Now the compliments are becoming annoying. Now you're doing too much. Now you're chewing too loud. Now all these things begin to annoy you because now you say with your mouth that you will be this is what you're looking for.
Right.
In reality, it sounds good. Put it in practice, it's a whole nother thing.
I think like once I realized I can't really fully be myself, and like naturally when it comes to a romantic relationship, and you meet someone, sometimes you naturally get that, oh my God, I could feel like I could just be myself. And then sometimes you're like, ooh, I don't want to do this. Maybe I don't want to pass gas around them, I don't want to talk about, bowel movements or anything. But then you have people that you meet on a romantic level and you're like, oh my God, this guy makes me feel, or this woman makes me feel just free within myself.
I feel like that connection on any level, not just relationships, even friendships.
Yeah, even friendships.
That's why I always tell everybody, date your friends too. Like, the new people you meet as friends, date them too. Because, like, for me, I don't have those problems. Like, the people I choose to be around, like I said, I pick them apart so easily. I know the right questions to ask. I know when you're in a certain setting how you operate. Because if, for instance, me and you go somewhere, and you're the type of person that's just acting a fool in the party and drawing attention, I know I cannot be around you. You cannot be the person I spend my time with.
Right.
You could be the prettiest girl in the whole wide world. I don't care if it's Michelle Obama. If me and you go somewhere and you embarrass me, I don't want to be around you at all. So I feel like even with some of these guys, they don't really like these women. They like the idea of these women.
Of them. Because
this girl is so pretty and everybody else wants her, so your ego is telling you, this is what your ego does. It says, I can get her and you can't. She's the trophy. So your ego is telling you, I'm going to hold on to her no matter what because I don't want you to have her.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel like you're better than me if you get her. That's where a lot of guys cheat also, to feed their ego.
To feed their ego, yeah.
Because you feel like, yo, I'm the man. I'm supposed to have 3 or 4 women. Why can't I? Like, yo, gotta do this. Like, I gotta tell all my friends, like, yo, I gotta show off on all of them that I could get more.
Society says that.
I could get more girls than you, so why not?
It's terrible.
Spiritual maturity will say, nah.
It's really not that serious.
Chill off for that.
Because I mess around with this girl, my neck might get chopped off by the morning because she might be crazy as hell.
Not even that. Just saying that I'm gonna hurt the person I'm with.
Yeah.
So I'm just not gonna follow my ego and go sleep with somebody else because I'm gonna prove to somebody that I could sleep with this girl if I want to.
Right.
A lot of times cheating is just feeding your ego.
It's just feeding your ego.
That's all it is.
So I hope we answered your question, Anonymous.
I answered it in so many different ways.
We did. I just think overall when you find, you would know you're naturally connected to a person once you can be yourself, and when you're talking to them, when you're around them, you feel at ease, you feel at peace. Sometimes you have a little butterflies because they just make you feel a little,
I personally don't. I don't believe that's the main thing. I think always the main thing is always knowing self.
Yeah, but when you know yourself, you know that this person that's around you, it can comfort you, like comfort who you are as a person.
And a lot of people don't know what they want.
Right.
That's the part of knowing yourself.
People, I'm telling you, personal development, guys, you got to do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to take a step back to just really know who you are.
Not only know who you are, but part of knowing who you are is knowing what you want.
Right.
Because a person can come.
In a nutshell.
A person can come and give you flowers, and you thought flowers would have made you feel good, but it don't give you that fulfilling feeling. Yeah. Because you don't really like flowers in reality.
That too.
Because you don't know that because you've never actually sat down and think, do I really like this? You never really sat down and thought that. Do I really want that? Like you see like a celebrities online and they're in this lovey-dovey relationship, and it looks good.
It looks good, but you don't know what's going on.
But have you said to yourself, do I really want that?
Right. People don't look at that. That's why Instagram and those social media things are just, what is it? Comparison is a killer of all joy.
Yes, it is.
All right, so let's get to the second question. This one's a little deep, guys, so hopefully I don't get emotional.
Whatever.
All right. What's your thoughts on having I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. That was the wrong one. Okay. Your thoughts on mental health issues caused specifically by sexual abuse by a family member. Okay, guys. So I'm going to make sure when we talk about this that we don't want to offend nobody, and we're going to make sure that we can answer this question in the most.
If you're offended, that means you're probably the person doing it.
Well, yeah. Y'all need to be in jail.
Right, because I'm not in agreement with anybody that does no shit like that.
Sexual abuse. Sexual abuse, that's what it said, right?
Sexual abuse like by a family member.
So I would say any trauma that you have in your life that is keeping you stagnant from moving on mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, you have to seek some type of help.
Yeah, you can't do it on your own.
You can't do it on your own. You have to go to therapy. You have to find maybe a group, a social group that knows what you're going through, and you guys can relate. You feel more comfortable speaking about it in that space. I think the first thing you have to do is just really, the second thing, most important thing is getting it off your chest and speaking about it, and knowing that you're not the only person, and never victimize yourself. I think a lot of times we victimize ourselves and we blame ourselves when we go through something, and that alone puts us in a space of depression and not having confidence and not loving ourselves and feeling that we're less than. So yeah, I think that you have to start there. You have to tell yourself, I'm not the victim. I'm going to get the help that I need about this because I can't move forward from it. I'm not going to hate the person. I'm actually going to forgive them, because when you move forward with hate on your heart, that's still some type of burden on you.
It's destruction.
Yeah. So you have to also forgive the person, and that's going to be the hardest part. And it's not something you do right away. It's going to take the work. You know?
All right. So, like I said, I have a few different points on this because I said it in the Nick's episode where I would say 80% of the women that I've come in contact with has been abused in their lifetime. Now, by a family member, it's gonna hurt a bit more, because that's somebody that's supposed to be close to you that you can trust in that area. You're supposed to can trust your father or your brother or your step this or your in-law that to say, you know, that I'm off limits. So I'm able to come lay beside you in the bed and feel secure that you won't try nothing. I'm able to drop my guard around you knowing that you won't do nothing. When somebody violates that level of trust, that on top of the physical abuse, it's very, very severe when it comes to the hurt that you're going through. What I would say to people like that is, it's an everyday thing. You can't just feel like there's a remedy to just go to therapy 2 times and it's going to be fixed.
You gotta
especially if you had never faced it. First of all, you got to face it. You can't suppress it with alcohol or drugs or whatever. You got to face it head on and say, listen, I went through this. Go through the motions, of feeling and crying and whatever you want to do. You find healthy ways to deal with these things. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. You find the most negative ways to deal with trauma. Smoking, drinking, partying, distracting yourself. And no matter how much you do that, it doesn't go away. That sits in your subconscious for the rest of your life. It does not go away. It's not like a pinch that's going to hurt. It's you seeing it hurt. This hurt will linger forever. You have to find healthy ways to deal with, whether you work out, meditate, therapy, and whatever it is that's healthy. You read books, you do research, even helping somebody that went through the same thing is also a form of dealing with that in a healthy way.
And as you're speaking, I'm thinking about, because I watch a lot of podcasts and I see a lot of women come on and talk about this stuff, and even most of the time it happens in their childhood days, and if it's a family member, they sometimes are afraid to go and talk to the parent or to talk to whoever they need to talk to about it, the adult in their family or whatever, because of whatever reason they feel like they won't believe them, or they feel
that's it. Because remember, especially if it's an older family member, a lot of times, remember, you're supposed to be listening they're supposed to be older and know better.
And know better, yeah.
So sometimes they would manipulate you to say, don't tell them you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Don't tell nobody. Yeah. And that stays with you.
That stays with you, yeah.
And a lot of times, parents have to learn how to allow their kids to be able to communicate with them.
Give them a safe space to be able to talk about it.
And some of the like sometimes even when the kids communicate to like a parent, they make the child feel like they're doing something wrong, like it's your fault, or it didn't happen, or you're lying, or you know.
The parent in me, I think about this and it drives me crazy every time, because the natural instinct in me, God forbid if my child was to ever come to me and tell me something like that has happened, I'm going to see red, and I'm going to probably try to
hurt somebody.
That's just the natural instinct. But when I think about it, I might see the red, I might have the thought of hurting them, but I think I have to, because typically when a parent or whoever finds out, they go ballistic, right? And it goes back to when we talk about Jeffrey Dahmer. Where is it stemming from? Instead of seeing, okay, I don't even know. Saying it is killing me saying it, because I don't even know if in the moment I would have that mindset to say, let me try to figure out where this stemmed from. Let me try to get this person help. But that's the right thing to do, because yelling and cussing and fussing at them and making them feel less than can cause them to go do more crazy.
For me in that moment, I don't care what the abuser does.
You're like,
I'm gonna try to help. I'm gonna try to help my child.
Well, yeah. Of course.
That's my number one priority.
Right.
For you, I'm gonna figure out how to kill you. That's
what I'm saying. Like, I will go red and I will literally try to murder you and take your esophagus out.
Yes, but I cannot. I feel like everybody knows right from wrong, regardless of what you went through. And you decide to do it to my child.
Right.
I don't have a child, and my blood boils.
Right. Even if thinking of your nieces, you know, like you're just like.
Don't even mention it.
You didn't, because
at the end of the day, like, I feel like that is why it's important for people to heal.
Yeah.
You know, look at the thing that's going on with Krishan and Blueface.
You know, I stopped looking at that.
I stopped too.
I don't even know nothing that's going on.
I completely stopped. She has to have went through something.
The last thing
traumatic.
I heard, she was in Walmart and she was handling the baby in the wrong way. That's the last thing that I've heard.
The one I saw today was Blueface posted the hernia or the kid's genitals on Twitter or some shit. And I'm like, it's two people. Like, that child is going to be traumatized before they even learn how to speak.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sorry for.
Horrible environment.
I'm not going to say hate. I dislike people that are traumatized, that went through a lot of trauma, that is not healed, that decide to go have kids.
Kids, yeah.
You know, you're putting yourself in a position to raise a child in a toxic environment, to grow up and be toxic to other people. Yeah. That's how the domino effect goes. So you raise a toxic little demon, and then your toxic little demon go find somebody else, and you destroy them. Because what if Blueface was the demon that destroyed Krishan? Krishan may be the demon that destroyed Blueface. You never know. And
sometimes you attract people in your life depending on the space that you're in, where you are in life. So if you're a homeless person, you're going to attract another homeless person. Y'all going to have a love connection. If you're spiritually woke, you're going to attract a spiritually woke. If you take drugs, you're going to attract another druggie. So I think that's how they got together in the environment where they both were mentally, and they just couldn't, they made a, what is it called? Trauma bonding.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like 19 Keys said something about that the other day. He said, that's why the relationship and gossip podcasts are so popular. Because you could go over there
you could trauma bond with them things
and find something to validate the bullshit that you believe.
Yeah.
Because you could believe that so much aliens exist, and you go watch a podcast that give you all the facts that they think they know, and you're gonna be happy to watch that because it validates it.
Yep.
So many hurt and damaged women will go watch a podcast talking about how they hate men, and they will love that.
And they will love
because
that.
Guess what? It's agreeing with the bullshit that they believe in their mind.
Yeah.
That's why we have to be careful the information that we put out there, because no matter how dumb it sounds, there's somebody that believes that bullshit. That's the problem that we have nowadays. If you go online and read some of these comments, you're like, people really think like this? Mm-hmm. They do. Yep. That's what I hate the most about the internet. You know,
you got to filter it out, guys. Filter it out. Get your mind right. Do the personal development. So I hope we answered that question.
Yeah. Like I said, my final advice to that person: if you've been through that, like I said, it's an everyday job to go do the work on yourself. Don't try to remedy it with alcohol, distractions, drugs, and also, like you said, forgiveness aspect is also very important. You forgive, learn how to work through those emotions and realize how that has changed you from that point until now. Yep. Who were you before that? If you knew yourself before that, who were you before that? How has it showed up in your different relationships or your different friendships? How has it affected the people around you? And you learn how to change that, move forward.
That particular question, and thank you for having the courage to put that on there. But it's one of those. It's the answers and remedies to that is like ongoing.
Yeah, like I said, everybody got a smartphone. You can find so much remedies to deal with trauma. Go find them and just do it.
Yeah. So my prayers go out to you for if that was you personally, if somebody that you know that been through that. Right. That's not a. Good
and I'm sure there's somebody watching this that probably went through that.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up, Stretch. Let's talk. Let's give them our
final
lesson, our final thoughts.
You first.
I'm gonna go back to what we were talking about earlier with victimizing yourself in a situation. Never play the victim to any situation. If someone has done something to hurt you, physically hurt you mentally, verbally, or whatever it is. You have to find that peace level in there within yourself to say that this situation is not for me, this person is not for me, and I'm going to take myself away. Have the confidence with yourself, practice personal development every single day, and it'll be a lot easier because we're not perfect, but we are progressing.
And for me, on the topic of spiritual maturity, just learning how to be okay with not being popular, being okay with not being relevant, learning how to be relevant and be okay with that. Even if this podcast doesn't get the 1 million views, I'm still gonna try to do the right thing and put good information and good energy out there. I'm not gonna try to put things on here that's gonna damage our platform or give people the wrong idea. Our podcast is about information and educating and changing the culture in a positive way, and we'll never stray from that, no matter how unpopular the podcast is. So being brave enough and being strong enough to have the courage to do the unpopular things, even if the right things are unpopular, to continue to strive to do the right things. So that's what would be my final thought. Everybody won't be on that bandwagon with you to do the right thing. It's easy to do the wrong thing. It's easy to go ahead and follow the crowd and do what everybody else is doing. But continue on your path and your journey, knowing what's right, and stay with that.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, take us out.
All right, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in for one more very good episode. Don't let your ego destroy you. Yeah. And we will see you again next time for another episode of the Student to Life podcast.
Bye, guys.
Peace out.